This episode is brought to you by KPMG. Making an impact is how KPMG helps make the difference. KPMG applies advanced tools and strategic thinking to convert data into actionable knowledge and deliver value by improving performance through transformation, modernizing processes with technology, harnessing the power of data, navigating complex M&A transactions, and enhancing trust among stakeholders. Go to kpmg.us/advisory to learn more. KPMG. Make the difference.
We'll do it live. Fuck it. Do it live. I'll write it and we'll do it live. And thing sucks.
Bear down, Bears fans. On this Wednesday, that is also a Wednesday. Damn. There's only one team in the city that can make a gloomy fall day feel like summertime shy. That is your Chicago Bears. Settle in, all of my Bears fans. Get cozy, get comfortable. We're going to talk about week 3 and all its glory.
It was glorious.
It was very glorious, Dave. And in fact, enjoy a free glizzy from Winner Circle. So you have my permission. And as always, on Wednesday, I'm joined by my division foes turned friends. B. Foster of Bleachers to Speakers covering those Detroit Lions, and Dave of Vikings First and Skull, bringing you all the necessities of the Minnesota Vikings. Fellas, how are you all doing this glorious Wednesday?
Victory week is always a blast, and it's even better when the Packers lose.
That hit Foster right here, right in the heart, because he hates the Packers more than anybody I know. Dave, it was a great weekend for the division. Each one of our teams won, and as you all said, the Packers lost in hilarious fashion. And I think we should start right there. Let's stew in that for a little bit, Dave. How's that sound?
It sounds great to me. I love it.
We tried to give them their proper respect. We tried to be the bigger persons of the division, and say the Packers were the best team in the division. At least they looked like it the first 2 weeks, right? I mean, we tried our best, Dave. We tried our best. And as soon as we give them those props, what do? They blow everybody's survival pick. They blow a whole bunch of betting slips. That's exactly why we don't need Wisconsin in the Union. Get rid of them. I'm good with 49. 50's a round number, but I'm good with 49. Foster, I'm gonna ask you this question first. In fact, I'm asking you both, but Foster, you chime in first. Are the Packers overrated, or is that just a case of any given Sunday?
I mean, to be honest, they were the benefit of some wild anomalies. Certainly the Lions are playing much better football right now, but also the Commanders, I feel like they played about as bad as they could play in that game. So I think that we may be getting a little bit of a look into I think the real Packers are stood up, but the Browns are not as bad as their reputation tends to, I don't know. I mean, they're a good defensive team. I will not take that from them. They have a strong front seven, or certainly a good front four. So not to get too far into things, we're not sleeping on them this week, but we'll see. I don't even know who the Packers play next, but I'll be curious to see how they bounce back from that game.
They play Dallas. In Dallas. On Sunday Night Football.
Oh, okay. I like that.
Which is, believe it or not, I think one of the cheapest tickets around.
Is it? Whoa,
yeah.
What?
You can get it. There's something like, there was as low as like $32. Yeah, it's way below market price.
I guess because of the way the Cowboys are. What are they, 1-2? 2-1?
Yeah, they're 1-2. We'll talk about that in a minute. We'll talk about those Cowboys record in a minute. But yeah, Dave, $32. That's expensive for North Wisconsin. I mean, what else is there to buy with $32 out there? You might as well go see a football game.
This is in Dallas, though.
It's not in Wisconsin.
It was in Dallas.
It's in Dallas.
Oh,
Right. See?
Micah's coming back. Micah's coming to town.
Yeah. It's a
Oh.
revenge game.
So,
Which
yeah,
I
that
hope
doesn't.
Dallas is fired up for it. I hope they pound them.
I can go for a good pound. So, Dave, what about what are you? What's your take on the Packers? Foster already said maybe they had caught. They were the beneficiaries of a good schedule. They caught some people lacking early, but what did you think? In fact, I got a separate question for you too, Dave. Did you see that interception that Jordan Love threw? I constantly have to inform people that just because you're a hater of a particular subject, and me, I am a hater of the Packers. Hello, I will gladly tell you this. That doesn't mean you lack objectivity. I don't have to lie on them bums. I can tell you the truth. And trust me when I'm saying it's an astute and honest football observation when I say Jordan Love is not what they tell you he is. He ain't that guy. Dave, did you see how he blew it?
He blew it big time. They came in with the whole "we're greater than thou" attitude, and they were screaming, "This is going to be easy W." Well, almost like they didn't prepare as normal, and they blew it. Hey, the Browns beat them. The Browns, Cleveland. When it's brown, flush it down. Cleveland. It is. But the professional quarterback, yes, he was. We've said it all along. He's good some weekends, and he's not so good others. So we'll see.
They had a 10-point lead with 3.5 minutes left in the game. And I remember I didn't watch that game. It was a local game, and I had Sunday Ticket up on the screen. I wasn't focused on. I'm not going to rush to watch the Packers versus the Browns, right? For one, it's how you get eye cancer. I don't want to watch that. But I'm watching the score because I did have them in a couple of slips. I'm like, why are the Packers playing with their food? What's going on over there? Why haven't they put that team away? And when you play with your food, things like this happen. So it couldn't happen to a better team.
I thought it was absolutely hilarious. Absolutely hilarious. They had, I think, 14 penalties for 75 yards, back-to-back false starts. You would think they were in a dome, but they weren't. No, it was bad. Coach LaFleur called it fundamentals feral. They weren't in it. So if your mind isn't in it and you go against that Browns defense, it's going to be a bad day.
Yeah, the Browns, again, to Foster's point, if you could take a lot up from the Browns, because they don't offer a lot most weekends, but they do have a very talented defensive
line.
The defensive line is the cream of their crop, especially when you talk about Mr. Myles Garrett, former Defensive Player of the Year. As you, I know you all saw that clip when he's chasing Jordan Love. I know you all saw that. That was
run. That's got to be terrifying. I'm sorry.
I don't. If you beat my left tackle that bad, and you started telling me to run, I'm like throwing the football. Jordan Love, I'll give Jordan Love credit for this. He stood there like, yeah, no big deal. Hey dude, I'm gone. Hey, I'm out of here.
He could probably beat Jordan Love in a race.
Probably could. He's a superior athlete. I don't think he's human. That's Myles Garrett we're talking about.
He can hoop a little too. He can dunk.
Yes.
I mean,
there's no way he's not from Krypton. No way.
But that was hilarious. And he just smoked the left tackle. I mean.
Yes, he did.
Kind of scary to think about.
Quick bing, bing, and right by him.
1-2.
Other than the Packers, that was the only. Do I want to call that a low light? Do I? Because I felt so good watching that
loss. It was great.
Yeah, you know what? Let's not call it a low light. It's highlight. This is a highlight episode. All things good. So other than the good outcome of that Packers game, all of our teams won. All of them won. And in convincing fashion. You are right there, Dave. Drinks to that as well. There's a subplot to this past weekend too. There was, if you watch the schedule, if you remember when we had the schedule breaks, the NFC North, our division, plays the AFC North this season. And ever since the Bengals drafted Joe Burrow, well, maybe let's not go that far back. Ever since the Bengals showed up in the Super Bowl, somewhere you don't really see them, it's been a common thing to say around NFL circles that the AFC North is the best and toughest division in all of football. Perennial playoff teams in Baltimore and Pittsburgh, and those teams are toughness personified. You two guys played AFC North teams, and I think we already stated how that turned out. AFC Schmayfc, am I right, fellas?
Oh, I think Big Foster's game was a little bit more competitive.
He handled those guys.
But they handled them, yes.
That's all I heard.
During that game. But, oh, no. Well, let's start with mine.
Let's go.
The Vikings hosted the Cincinnati Bengals at U.S. Bank Stadium, and it was going to be the battle of the backups. Carson Wentz against Jake Browning. Everybody in the run-up to this game was looking forward to, we get to see J.J. McCarthy throw to Justin Jefferson against Burrow and Chase, right? The LSU gang with the one Michigan quarterback. But it was built up as going to be great. Well, J.J. McCarthy's hurt. Joe Burrow's out for the majority of the season doing surgery on a turf toe, and I feel for him. That looked painful. And the Bengals got smoked. Brian Flores, we got Harrison Hitman Smith back, and what a difference that made. The communication, the deception, the back and forth of who's on the line, where's he lined up, who's going to do this, who's going to do that. And it just culminated in a defensive masterpiece. Folks, it was 48-3 until way late in the game, and we gave them a touchdown as we had our second and third stringers in almost a preseason fashion. It was that bad. But there was one standout performance, which we'll get into later, that absolutely blew everybody's mind. And it was a huge team game. On top of that, we have Carson Wentz. Carson Wentz, 500-ish quarterback. Starter, early in his career, up for MVP when he was with the Eagles until he blew out his knee. And then he bounced around. He was the first ever quarterback to start six different teams in 6 straight seasons. So we just wanted him to hold down the fort. He held down the fort. He did what he was expected to do. Nothing spectacular. He didn't throw for 450 yards or whatever. It was a very journeyman-type performance. But we had Christian Darrisaw back at left tackle, who held Trey Hendrickson for 3 quarters until he was pulled because of we were resting our starters, to only 1 pressure. Trey Hendrickson led the league in pressures. He held him to 1. Trey Hendrickson only got 2 on the entire day. Our offensive line was blowing their defensive line out. And behind it was Jordan Mason. Jordan Mason's our thick-legged, muscular running back who's a powerhouse. But he was lucky. If you watch the film, and we're going to have a X's and Skulls episode tonight at 6:00. We're going to highlight this. He was down. We're down in the red zone, and he got the offensive line pushed the defensive line back 3 to 5 yards before Mason even got to the line of scrimmage. And it was just like, oh, he had a day, absolute day. And then the passing game was sufficient. It was good. We have both tight ends getting touchdown passes. We had Justin Jefferson getting back on track. It was just a wonderful, wonderful day.
Dave, I wanted to ask you about that guy that you said we'll talk about later. Let's go ahead and talk about it now. At the 4-box up, right? That wasn't one of the games I was actively watching because I saw the score. I said, don't need to see this. And because, it was two backup quarterbacks, I was gonna let the score tell me if I was gonna need to watch this game. Obviously, the score did not say I needed to pay attention to the game live. I can see it at another time. But when when Fox clicks in, it shows you the replays of a big play, right? They showed Isaiah Rodgers scoring a touchdown, and then they came in and showed it again. I'm like, don't they know they just showed me that? Why are they showing it again? It wasn't until after the game that I saw it. They were like, oh, he did it twice? Mm-hmm. He did that twice, Dave? So my question is, where was
in the first half?
Even.
Which was great, because if you'd watched the game being in Chicago, if you were watching it locally in Chicago, it would have been cut away come the third quarter. CBS said, this game is no longer competitive. We're switching to Seattle. And then I spent 5 minutes searching for a stream before Sunday Ticket picked it up. Thankfully, the bitching during the preseason helped. Then I watched the rest of the game. I listened to it in that intermission, but
if we've learned nothing over the last week, Dave, is dealing with streamers and TV providers. Bitching helps.
It does. Oh, it does.
Bitching helps.
But now, what you saw Isaiah Rodgers do on the highlights is only a fraction of what he did. The highlights.
What?
Yeah.
There was more?
Yes. The highlights. He had the massive interception return for touchdown. That was actually caused by Hitman Smith. Hitman got into the throwing lane, tipped the ball over. Isaiah Rodgers was smart enough to watch what was going on, stepped sideways, picked up the ball before it hit the turf, and took off. What was it? I think a 78-yard return or something like that. Then the second highlight you saw was Isaiah Rodgers punched the ball out of the receiver's hands, and nobody was picking up the ball, so he did. 66 yards to the house. 2 house calls in the same game. Okay. Well, that's been quasi done before. But he also caused another forced fumble where he punched the ball out. He is the only player in NFL history, all of history, NFL history, to have 2 defensive touchdowns, the interception, and then the fumble return, and 2 forced fumbles, all in the same game.
Wow.
And he won the NFC Player of the Week, Defensive Player of the Week, and he won the, the Slime Player of the Week.
MVP.
Mm-hmm.
Nickelodeon?
Right. Yeah, Coach was talking about earlier on his press conference today. He was going to get slimed if they could catch him. But the Vikings players will catch Coach O'Connell in practice. Guaranteed.
Mm-hmm.
As Tim says, he was a man possessed. And he was. But that wasn't All right, I talked about the 2 forced fumbles, the fumble return, and the interception return. He was all over the place near that football and trying to punch out more and making tackles. He just had a heck of a game. I think his total return yardage was like 147 or something like that. It was unbelievable. And during it, he's always been an advocate, let me return punts or kicks. And they said, no, you're a starter. You're not going to do that. And even while he was running the second one back, our special teams coach turned around and said, Zeke, he should be on my squad. The dude can play. He was a steal. Absolute steal. The fact that the Eagles couldn't keep him because they already had a couple starters at corner. They had to let him go. Too bad. It's our great pickup. Brian Flores scouted him when he played for University of Massachusetts. He's going to be a number 1 corner sooner than later.
I'm so mad. I lost 3 or 4 of my fantasy matchups this week, and I got the Minnesota defense in 3 of them. All 3 of the ones I lost, I got the Minnesota defense. Did not play it. I played Atlanta defense because based on what I saw the previous week. And Dave, to go back to that TV point, I had the Atlanta game up in one of the boxes. Their quarterback, their second-year quarterback, brutal. The worst game I've ever seen in my life. But don't want to get – this ain't about me. It's about
he got
Minnesota
replaced
right now.
eventually by Kirk Cousins.
Yeah, imagine that. I'm not terrible. That defense, terrible. That decision I made, terrible. I deserve to lose. Dave, last question. Should I pick up Isaiah Rodgers in my league that has a IDP league? Because he outscored some quarterbacks this week. Do I need to pick him up, yes or no?
Yes.
Will do. Doing that right now. And while I'm doing that, Foster, you play the other.
Just
I need that. I need that. Be like a squirrel. Foster, you also played an AFC North squad, Monday Night Football. Supposedly, well, actually, it was the game of the week. Tell us how you made that team look that befuddled.
Well, needless to say, the team answered the call. They could have been content with their convincing win at home, and settle for that, especially with kind of the odds. I mean, the odds were against us in many different ways. Not only first of all, the Lions hadn't beaten the Ravens since 2007, 2008, something like that. Obviously, Lamar Jackson fares very well against the NFC, especially at home. History was certainly against us in that game, but the defense, well, first and foremost, the offense went straight down the field quickly, making quick work, and scored a touchdown, a couple long passes to Jamison Williams. But after their first draft, it looked like it might have been a high scoring game because they went down pretty quickly as well. Derrick Henry had the running game going in the first half, and so did Lamar Jackson. The defensive, Kelvin Shepard, the new DC, made some adjustments, and it was a much different game in the second half. The running game, one of the keys that I talked about was controlling the time of possession, keeping Lamar Jackson and Derrick Henry off the field, and we were able to sustain some pretty long drives. They had us pinned down in bad field position a couple of different times, but we were able to not only flip the field, but to hold on to the ball and drive down the field. Jahmyr Gibbs struggled early on. I think his first 10 carries, he had like 8 yards. There was a lot of defenders in the backfield early in the game, and it wasn't until we moved over to Montgomery that we really got things going on the running side of things. Montgomery, had a couple nice long runs, but he finished with 151 yards rushing, and the offensive line the second time, the second week in a row, they allowed 0 sacks. They protected Jared Goff. He had a serviceable game. I think he ended up with 202 yards passing. I think he went 22 of 28, something like that. So solid performance. I thought that we would be able. I think he went 20. I thought that we would be able to attack the secondary a little bit better with Jair Alexander out still, but we kind of went away from Jamison Williams. Like I said, he had those first 2 catches in the first half, and he did not. I think he saw one more target the rest of the game. So we kind of ventured away from him, but overall, amazing game from our front seven. We had 7 sacks overall, 2.5 sacks from Al-Qadim Muhammad. We got 3 sacks from our linebackers alone, and that was simply from them, playing that spiral, staying disciplined, not falling for the pump fake, and just containing Lamar Jackson. One of the big keys of the game was Jack Campbell. This was a 4th down play deep in our zone. We got a stop from Cunningham, Zach Cunningham, one of our reserve running backs, Cunningham. And then on 4th down, it was a blitz from DJ Reed and Jack Campbell. And Jack Campbell was able to force the fumble that Jackson was able to recover, but he was not able to convert and score the touchdown. So, great play from our defensive line as a whole. Got to attribute a lot of the containment of Lamar Jackson to assigning Malik Cunningham to the practice squad, who is, I think, technically a wide receiver, but he played quarterback at Louisville, which is actually where Lamar Jackson played. And he played as the practice dummy, running quarterback, guy to kind of get us prepared. He also is a former Raven, and he might have played at Louisville with Lamar Jackson. But outside of that, the 4th down conversion late in the game to seal the deal, where Montgomery eventually would have the long run for the touchdown. But the 4th down conversion I think it was a play action where Goff threw it over the top, a beautiful, perfectly thrown pass right into the breadbasket to Amon-Ra St. Brown, which scared the crap out of me because, the level of difficulty for a 4th and 1, 4th and 2 is like, we couldn't have found a better way to do that. But it worked. And so it was a pretty
thing of beauty.
Yeah. It was.
I didn't expect it either. And it was definitely a gamble, but it was executed perfectly.
That's what Dan Gamble does. And so they ended up getting a late touchdown to kind of pad the stats a little bit for Lamar Jackson and to make the 38-30, the 38-23 game look a little bit more respectable at 38-30. But overall, we were pretty much in control of the game. We shut things down in the second half, and I am highly pleased. But the key play that I forgot to talk about is the forced fumble by Aiden Hutchinson. He was a little bit quiet in the first half. He was a little bit quiet in the first half, but he really came on in the second half. He had a big sack on Lamar Jackson, and he was able to knock the ball out from behind against Derrick Henry, who was carrying it in his left hand, obviously not secure enough. And he had a little bit of a meltdown. He, slammed his helmet down and just kind of slid on the bench. I mean, I know he felt like an idiot a little bit, but you could see that mentally he couldn't. He's had some fumble issues in the last couple of games as well. So this was kind of a culmination of all of that. But he was mentally a little, and visibly a little distraught by that fumble, because the game was still, hanging in the balance, especially because we had that bad face mask penalty on Christian Mahogany, which kind of pushed us back and kind of threw off the rhythm of the offense, because they were down 4. We only managed to get a field goal. So we kicked the field goal and they were down 7. So they still had an opportunity to make something happen. But that fumble forced by Aiden Hutchinson was massive, and it kind of broke them a little bit after that. So great win by the team, and I'm feeling really to me, this was a big game. This was an important game for us to kind of give us a nice measuring stick when we looked at games on the schedule that would be difficult because we do have a very tough road schedule. That was one of the games along with the Eagles and the Chiefs, who we also have to play on the road. So I think it's a good build-up game to come back home and hopefully beat the tar out of the Browns. But we'll talk about it.
Hey, I was impressed with Muhammad. He seemed to be all over the place, and I'm like,
crazy motor.
Yeah. What's heavier right now in Detroit, Foster? The foot that David Montgomery put on the necks of the Baltimore Ravens defense, or the balls of Man Campbell? Because my God, that decision, even though, I mean, mathematically it's the right call, but to call that, Jesus, I did not expect it. That play in that situation, Jesus.
Yeah, he definitely needs a wheelbarrow to get around with that thing, with what he's got, what he's working with. But, that when you think about how bad that could have been and what the backlash would have been, it all over again, it would have been a hot mess. But when you got one of the most pinpoint and accurate quarterbacks in the game, and one of the top 5 best receivers as well, you err on the side of allowing them to do what they do best. And can't say enough about that offensive line. Tate Ratledge was a top PFF. Penei Sewell was a top performer.
Yes.
But
he was bullying Roquan Smith out there.
Roquan Smith and David Green as well. David Green, he had him in a box. But yeah, Tate Ratledge, I think, had like a 91 PFF grade, a major turnaround from what we saw in week 1. And yeah, just like that, just those little miniature adjustments to learn, to just get more comfortable and learn in real life on the field experience. He's showing us exactly why we drafted him, traded up and drafted him in the second round.
Nice. Congrats to both of you all's team. You got to stack wins, right? And it was even better stacking them against the teams out of that division that we're all kind of like looking over, like, hey, I mean, are you all really the best, or just it's a good feeling, right? More than like what we did last year. We were just talking about it. Now you got to put it on wax, as they say in the hip hop community. But what I did not like out of that game, Foster, the Bears had the longest drive of the season up until that Monday Night Football game, and when Detroit had to show them up with that 10-minute drive. Cut it out. Y'all like a scorned ex right about now, dude. Enough of the Ben Who stuff, and hey, look, stop jacking our swag. Stop, hey, shorty, stop watching our story. Stop watching our story, trying to get on what we own. That long drive is what the Bears are doing right now. We're taking that over. But let me tell you about that Bears game real quick. The Bears welcomed Dallas. The Dallas Cowboys with their defensive coordinator, maybe you've heard of him, Matt Eberflus, to Soldier Field, and that game went exactly how we all saw it going. We cooked them right out the gate, cooked them like some chicken at Benihana's, flame all the way up. Everyone in the building knows that Eberflus defense inside and out, every which way. And on Sunday, the Bears ain't pulled out. They left it in and wide open on that defense, and it was a rout the whole time. That's right, Foster. Ben Johnson's offense has now scored 30 or more in 5 of the last 7 times he saw that defense. Caleb went against this defense his entire rookie season, as well as the most of the offense, save for the rookies. And without Micah, it only made it easier, since we know exactly we know exactly what Eberflus is coming with. He ain't blitzing. I think he blitzed 9% of that game. And without Micah, you're not getting home with 4. Yes, you can cut that out. We all expected it to be a shootout. That didn't materialize. So the winner of this game had to be whichever defense was going to make the bigger stop, the last stop, however you frame that. And that's exactly what Tyreek Stevenson did for the Bears. He, in the first quarter, after the Bears went 3 and out to start the game, Javonte Williams and the Dallas Cowboys running game, they were putting on a show out there. It was getting whatever they wanted. Javonte had scampered down the sideline. I know every Bears fan was like, oh, man, here we go again. Here we go. What else? What other game is on? Because the Bears finna do it to me again. They finna ruin another Sunday. No. Tyreek Stevenson came up on the 6 and snatched that ball out of his hand and stayed in bounds. A tremendous head on a swivel clutch in the first quarter. Clutch play. Because that turned the momentum all around. That gave the Bears some mojo that they ain't had all season. They was waiting for it, and this was that. Right after that play, a few plays later, Caleb and Rome got together for a 35-yard touchdown. Tyreek get a lot of flack, but he did his big one in that game. He had that forced fumble. He had some big hits up and down that game. He had some pass breakups. He was the man. He was exactly what the Bears need while Jalen Johnson is maybe out for the season. Well, they did put him on IR. They said he's going to have surgery, could return after week 8. We don't know how that's going to go. But Tyreek, if this is the good Tyreek we're going to get, we will not be in dire straits until we get Kyler and Jalen back. That's the type of stuff we need. Not bad Tyreek, the one that was chasing Amon-Ra St. Brown all around last weekend, and definitely not the one we saw in DC last year. A great game from him, a much maligned defender, but that ain't the only much maligned defender that had a great game. Tremaine Edmonds, he had the second highest defensive EPA behind, who do you think? No guesses?
Rodgers.
Isaiah Rodgers.
Easily, right? Easily. So Tremaine Edmonds, he had 14 tackles and 2 interceptions himself. Kevin Byard, he had a big pass blow up at the end of the first half and then ended the game with his own interception. As a team, the trend continued to the trend in reducing flags continued from a high of 12 in week 1 to we only had 5 in this last week, in this last game. No pre-snap penalties, no sacks allowed. Shout out to another maligned player, Braxton Jones, Bears left tackle. He allowed not a single pressure in this game, and that's after allowing 12 in the first 2 games. And that's just a step. All of that is amazing. And again, we should have expected some of this to come. Last but not least, Caleb Williams, Caleb Dub, the acrylic assassin. He continued another trend with the NFC Offensive Player of the Week coming out of the Bears game. He had 298 yards through the air, 4 touchdowns, no interceptions. Some passes are still sailing on him, so it's not a perfect game. But the progression is starting to smack folks across the forehead. You can't ignore it too much longer. I could give you a gang of numbers of how this young man is. He's showing that that the conversation of who's the best quarterback out of that class is not a class. Oh no, they tried to decide it last year, Dave. Oh, Jaden Daniels that, Drake made this, Drake made that. It ain't over. Caleb is right there in the mix of that. And the numbers, and you're a numbers person, go look at them. Get back to me. But I'm gonna tell you right there. I'm not gonna tell you nothing about the numbers. The command that he showed at the line, checking in, checking out of bad looks, most importantly, getting people lined up correctly. And if that's a little bit too deep in the woods for you, that first touchdown pass, did you all know Rome didn't run the right route? That was not a go route. He was supposed to run it out. But after he After he cooked Diggs at the line, he threw his hand up and said, hey, ain't nobody over the top. I got this. And Caleb, I see you, bro, on a rope right there. See, that's the type of stuff that when you have a command of what's going on out there, you can do that. That's just like playing football in the backyard, man. That's the type of command, that's the type of feel you get when you're comfortable. And that's exactly where we need this offense to be for we to ascend to the place where we need it to be.
So you're telling us that Caleb is finally starting to listen to Ben Johnson?
Actually, I think it's the other way around. I think Ben is listening to Caleb now. Ben himself said that he has to learn to be okay with Caleb playing off schedule sometimes because, Caleb is a particular talent that just can't do things on schedule. Sometimes you got to let them draw outside the lines. Color outside the lines. I'm sorry to mess up that phrase. And that's how all artists are. And if we want to put it in that kind of context, Ben said, I got to pull my spectrum back a little bit and just just be okay with some things not being the way that I envisioned it. And that's great. You want these two guys to meet in the middle and understand each other and have a very successful and prodigious relationship. And listen, I ain't looked at the comments yet. I'm pretty sure there's some people telling me that it was just the Lions. It was just the Cowboys defense. Their defense is trash. Don't do too much about that game. You're right. I get it. But guess what? This is no different than starting your day with 2 AP classes and then getting the homeroom. This is no different than that. And that's what the Cowboys are. The Cowboys is homeroom. I don't know about y'all. I don't know about y'all, but you act up in homeroom. When I was in school, I had my feet up. I was eating Flamin' Hots and Doritos. That's what I did in homeroom. And that's how the Bears treated homeroom. They did what they were supposed to do. In fact, after seeing the Packers lose and then enjoying this game against the Dallas Cowboys, I am pretty sure there was a lot of Bears fans that took their belt off and then had their flesh wand in their hand as this game was completing. I am positive, and they would not be doing too much if they did that. Let us live. Every schedule has a get-right game baked into it, so we can relax. Everybody's going to have that. And this is our time to have it. Easiest period is homeroom. And next to homeroom being easy is you got lunch. And that's what the Raiders for them be. We'll talk about that in a second on the other side of this break. You're finna do some real serious traveling there, Dave. You guys are going to Dublin, am I right?
Dublin, Ireland.
Dublin, Ireland to see one of Dublin's favorite teams, if I'm not mistaken, correct?
Yes, the Pittsburgh Steelers.
Ooh. Big game, Dave. 2 back-to-back NFC North games.
Absolutely. We actually have 3. Following week, we'll be in London for the Cleveland Browns.
Well, that doesn't count. I mean, they're from the AFC North, but it's vacation. Mm-hmm. Tell us about this one, Dave. How do you expect your Minnesota Vikings to follow up such a prodigious outcome against the Cincinnati Bengals?
Expect it to continue. Why? We now have Jordan Addison back, finally off of suspension. So the offense will be cooking on just about all cylinders. We'll have Ryan Kelly back at center. The only one we have out is our young Donovan Jackson, our left guard, who played outstanding, but he went for surgery on Monday, I think it was, to fix something in his wrist so it didn't get any worse. He'll be out the next few weeks until after the bye. But we'll have Blake Brandel play left guard, and when Blake Brandel played left guard with Christian Darrisaw last year, he did great. So I think the offense will hum. You'll have Carson Wentz be with the confidence builder we just had. He'll be ready to rock and roll. And I think we will be generating points more than is predicted in the over-under. And it's a ridiculously low over or under. It's only 40.5. So I think we are going to just press on and kick butt. Now, the Steelers are a good team. I'm not doubting them.
Are they though? I mean, do we know that for certain? I mean, it's week 3. We don't know anything about anybody. They do have a good player on defense, TJ Watt. We all know about. We respect TJ Watt. He's one of the greatest defensive players probably ever, right?
Mm-hmm.
But I don't know, Dan. I think you might give them too much
secondary. I'm not taking them for granted by all means. No, the Vikings will have their work.
Don't be like the Packers. Don't be like the Packers. Don't be like the Packers. Don't take anybody for granted.
Now, but our defense versus Aaron Rodgers is going to be a whole different story. Aaron Rodgers does not like pressure.
Your former quarterback.
Not Aaron Rodgers.
I'm sorry. I'm thinking of a different criminal. My fault. Go on, Dave.
Okay. Aaron Rodgers does not like pressure. We generate pressure like crazy from the interior defensive line. Just absolutely like crazy. He's going to have to make quick decisions. Now, can he? Yeah, he has the ability to do that. But will he? Will they be substantial ones? Because he sent his yards per throw metrics that I've looked at are really, really, really low. I think PFF has him ranked as the 42nd QB that's played this year. And it's just like, oh, okay. Now, Aaron Rodgers is going to be looking across the line and seeing Harrison Smith. That has been a battle for the ages. I mean, they're both up there in age. Harrison being 35. Aaron Rodgers is what, 67, something like that? He's up there. He just
turned 67.
Okay. It's but they have gone at each other for many, many, many years. And to where they get, and he'll look for Harrison and go, I see what you're doing. And then they'll go, oh, shit, you faked me out, damn it. And so we're going to see what happens. Do we have Aaron Rodgers steps into a bar situation this week? I don't know. We'll see. I don't think he's going to play as well as he hopes, but it's going to be a fun game. It's the first ever game in Dublin, Ireland, at the renowned and very ancient Croke Stadium. I think it's pronounced Croke, Croke, which was built originally in like 1886. It's been updated since. Don't worry, fans. You're going to a professional stadium. But they're going to be on grass, which is going to be interesting, versus next week when they're on turf. Our logistics guys are already over there. A team flies over Thursday. Steelers won't fly over until Friday. And I learned doing a show with Jeff Hartman, the interesting stat that it's 90-something% of the teams that go over there early win. That get to overseas games win. The only one exception is Minnesota Vikings. They landed later than a previous team and still won. That's why, because Minnesota Vikings are undefeated overseas in their history. From way back when we started doing exhibition games in the 80s, we're undefeated. It's a thing that we do well. We'll go over there and I have a feeling, start the grumbling even further in Pittsburgh.
Don't lose to Aaron Rodgers.
No. I'm wearing my "this team makes me drink." Oh, I would be probably under the desk if that happened.
Good whiskey.
We need him to go 0-4 against the division.
Now, speaking of whiskey, everybody's going, you're going to Dublin. You've got to try the Guinness. Have a pint. Hey, and I have nothing against Guinness. When I was stationed in England and getting it over there, to have it pulled from the basement, from the keg, it is something special. It is a treat. It is very, very good. It's like drinking a loaf of bread, but it is very, very good.
Heavy.
And it is better over there than it is over here. Sorry, but it loses translation when it comes over. But everybody's like, you got to go to Guinness, the breweries in Dublin. Well, no. You know me. I'm a whiskey guy. Teeling. And in this case, it's a single malt Teeling. Where's Teeling distilled? Dublin. So, and are the Irish known for their beer? Sure. But the Irish are also known for their whiskey. And I'm going to support my Vikings, and I'm going to support some Irish whiskey.
Love to
and
hear
did
it.
you know? I know my Steelers fans, buddies do. Dublin was founded by the Vikings.
Mm.
In 841, they invaded the island and set up a fort, which now is modern-day Dublin, and they founded that city. Now, they were eventually booted out. I think it was like 400 or 500 years later or whatever it was. Irish king had eventually kicked them out. But by that time, there was plenty of intermingling, and both cultures are very closely tied, and the fan bases are very closely tied. They expect that for fans, that the stadium's going to be over 40% Vikings and the rest Steelers, and there's probably a handful that's going to be wearing their Dolphins jersey or whatever. And but it's going to be an interesting game. It is a true neutral site game, but with tons of emotion as the Vikings take back what's rightfully theirs, Dublin, Ireland.
I got that. The Cleveland Browns are they coming to Detroit? Are you yeah, they're coming to Detroit. Leaving with a 1-3 record?
Only played 3 games, right?
So far.
This would be week 4.
1-3 when they leave? Yeah.
How you all plan to achieve that?
So we know that Cleveland is a little, they're not equipped offensively to keep up with our potent offensive attack. So I think that if we can score early and fairly often, I think that it will take them out of their comfort zone. They are a team that performs best when they can muddy the waters, which is what they did against the Green Bay Packers. They kept that game to a pretty low scoring affair. Packers only managed to score 10 points, and that's what they want. They want to be able to run the ball. They got the Quinshawn Judkins as their running back, and that's what they want to do. They want to be physical, and they want to slow the game down. As we talked about earlier, they have a damn good defense. They're ranked first in yards allowed and second in sacks. So, that's what they want to. They want to muddy the waters. So, but I think that one of the other keys for us is going to be making them a one-dimensional team. You know, once they get down and force Joe Flacco to try to beat us. They don't really have a ton of dynamic weapons. I think their best receiver this year right now is Cedric Tillman. I know what you're saying. Who or that's at least how I feel about him. They do have Jerry Jeudy as well, and they had David Njoku. He's okay. He's cool, but overall, the offense is nothing scary. So, getting them behind early, forcing Joe Flacco to have to put the ball in the air. I think he's got an interception in every game that he's played thus far. I know he's at least got one game that he has multiple interceptions, and we have some guys that can intercept some passes. So that's what I'm banking on, and they are pretty tough against the run, and we've seen in the last two games that we've won what a strong running attack can do. I think we had 177 yards total against the Bears, and probably over that against the Ravens, because Montgomery himself had 151. So I think Gibbs had about 60 or so. So we've done a good job of running the ball, and that's going to really soften up that pass rush. I think they're second in sacks. So they got Mason Graham from Michigan. They got Myles Garrett, of course, which just goes without saying. But they got a couple other guys that get after the quarterback too. So, I think that if we can execute in those areas, we can reign victorious again against another AFC North opponent. But some people would consider this to be a trap game. And, I would share that sentiment, but we ought to have an eye on them after they beat the Green Bay Packers. Granted, it's just the Green Bay Packers. What is that? But we should certainly be more on alert with having seen how that game turned out.
Yeah, good thing. The best thing about the Packers is that they serve as a litmus test and a sounding board as in some cases, like, hey, don't be like them, be better, aspire for greatness, unlike them, in all of Wisconsin. For the Bears have the Bears are going to Las Vegas Raiders. We are doing a Chicago takeover, as we always do. We're going into your trap, taking over your trap, and what's going to happen is this is the last game before the bye. The Bears have one of those early Week 5 byes. Mm-hmm. Real quick, the Raiders, they got a star-studded coaching staff, just kind of like the Bears do. They got Pete Carroll and a bunch of other names that you've probably heard of plenty of times throughout the years of football. They got Ashton Johnson, probably the star of the draft. They've got Geno Smith as quarterback. They got Brock Bowers, the reigning Rookie of the Year, right? Offensive Rookie of the Year. They've got names. They've got guys. They just haven't put it together yet this season. Ashton Johnson, he looks small. He hasn't been able to figure things out at the NFL level as of this yet. And that was one of the concerns we had when the rumors start talking about the Bears and connecting the Bears and Ashton Johnson in the top 10 of the draft. Like, come on, man, he's kind of I don't know if I was looking at Johnson just because of the concerns I had about his build and
why does he look so small now that he's small? Okay, so he's always been small. I don't know why he just seems so imposing. He's short, okay, because he always seems so imposing. I guess maybe that's just the way he played that gave off that impression. But
well, you play in the Mountain West, and
sure.
for his build, he's a big guy for 5'8", 210, something like that. But he's not like Maurice Jones-Drew. He's not a fire hydrant.
Oh no, he's not like Warren Dunn.
No, none like that. But yeah, so. That offense, they're putting up yards, as you alluded to earlier, Foster. But it's in trail mode. We're trying to get back into the game. I think the opportunity for the Bears to build off of the good vibes they got out of the Dallas game is right there. As I said earlier, if the Dallas Cowboys was homeroom, then the Raiders need to be lunch. The Bears need to continue to build on the good habits that were formed out of that game and have another strong, tough if it takes you to have a hard-nosed practice every week for you to come into the game with your head on right and ready to handle business, then so be it. Let's continue to do that, because that's exactly what happened last week. They had that players-only meeting. Everybody talked about what they want to come out of this season, and they finally did put some action behind their words. Let's keep it moving. I like what the Bears have. I like where the Bears are trending, as opposed to where the Raiders are trending. The Bears, obviously, I talk about it ad nauseum on this channel when we do our recaps and previews. The Bears they even coming out of that game, the Bears still have some issues that need to be handled. One, we're not stopping a run, and Ashajanti he has a name, but he hasn't shown that he can do it, that he can expose NFL rush defenses yet. The Bears are ripe to be exposed, so I need the Bears to shore that up. Two, the Bears are not running the ball the way I need them to run the ball. We don't got too many wide receivers in the backfield. We need to figure some things out with DeAndre Swift and some other things as far as just consistently not beating ourselves, playing behind the sticks. So if the Bears can continue to, again, go in the trend they set for themselves, they should go into the bye 2-2 and get this season back on equal footing. Dave, for the preview of your international game against the Pittsburgh Steelers in Dublin, Ireland, you did say you are going to do a cross show later on tonight. But where else could they catch all of your previews leading up to this game and all the other great things you do at your channel? Where could that be found?
Well, for the previews, you can catch me on Let's Ride on this morning's podcast when I talk with Jeff Hartman as well. That's a Steelers podcast. But you can catch us on Vikings First and Skol, where we talk everything Minnesota Vikings. We have tonight Luke Braun of Locked On Vikings joins Tyler Fornes for X's and Skulls. We're going to take one last in-depth film breakdown look of that absolute beatdown of the Cincinnati Bengals. And where are they focusing on? The trenches, the big round bellies that I love so much. And you can find us on your favorite podcast aggregator. Just type in Vikings First and Skol. We're there. Please like, rate, do all those fun things. And if you want to read about it, check us over at Fans First Sports Network or Pro Football Insiders.
There's also a Pro Football Insiders coming from the Bleachers to Speakers gang. Is that right, Foster?
So we will inevitably have a pregame show for the Cleveland Browns game. Me and Coach will also, we did a postgame show last night for the Tigers game as we get closer and closer to the very end, as we limp and back into the playoffs, if we make the playoffs, because I don't know. I'm really, really uncertain about whether we'll get our act together in time. But yeah, we'll be back to, I guess, close out the regular season on Sunday. The regular season will be over by then. So that may be a very sad and somber or fiery, angry or excited. It's going to be a lot of emotions. You might see a wide array of emotions coming up as far as the Tigers are concerned. But we'll also have a post-game show for the Lions as well. So stay tuned. Pistons are coming back. I'm going to have the Central Division cohort show as well. So a lot going on in the next few weeks.
And if the Pistons are coming back, that means hockey's starting.
First preseason game of the year was was yesterday for the Detroit Red Wings. So yeah, that's getting into full swing as well.
And as always, everything that you need out of Chicago sports and Chicago centric can be found at the Frustrated Chicago Sports Fan channel. We do as Foster said, the baseball season is coming to a close. We will be previewing, recapping all of the Cubs wild card series at this channel, as well as previewing the Bears game. That should hit all your audio streams as well as YouTube Friday morning. We did start off our Bulls coverage. That That show is available on all platforms: Spotify, Apple Podcasts, iHeartRadio, Amazon Music, Pandora, and all the rest. As always, YouTube. Fellas, what did we say on the way out the door?
Go Vikings!
Roar. Come on.
Bear down, everybody.
Thanks for listening to this latest episode from the Frustrated Chicago Sports Fan Channel. Don't matter if you listen to this on Apple Podcasts or Spotify or watch it on Twitch or YouTube. Make sure you like, subscribe, share with a friend, hit the notification bell so you never miss a drop. And to all the guys from Chicago, we say three things. Bear down, go Cubs go, and sell the team, Jerry.